Some indie games are so good it's crazy they don't get more attention. Today we're looking at some of the best indie games that are just too good to be forgotten. These are the kind of games that stick with you long after you stop playing, and they deserve a lot more love. Let's jump in. Oxenfree. Oxenfree is a weird, quiet kind of game that pulls you in with its story and atmosphere. You play as Alex, a teenage girl heading to this small island with a few friends. It's supposed to be a normal hangout. They're just goofing around, exploring, talking. But then they mess with this old radio signal, and that's when things start to get real strange. From there, stuff slowly gets more and more off. You start seeing things, time starts acting weird. You hear voices through the radio that don't sound human. People vanish, reappear, say things they shouldn't know. It feels like the island is messing with everyone, trapping them in these creepy time loops. The way the game handles conversations is really cool. You're not stopping everything just to pick a line. You're walking, climbing, exploring, and while you do all that, you're also choosing how Alex talks to people. You can cut someone off mid-sentence or just stay quiet. The way you talk shapes your relationships and changes how things play out later. It all feels supernatural. The art style is simple but clean. You see the island from a side view, and it's got this soft, slightly spooky look, kind of like a dream. Sometimes it's peaceful, other times it's really unsettling, especially when the screen glitches or the music gets all warped. There's this constant tension, like something's watching you, even when nothing's happening. Speaking of sound, the audio is a big part of the game. The radio static, the echoing voices, the creepy music, it all works together to make you feel uneasy without needing jump scares or loud noises. It's more about that slow, quiet feeling that something's not right. It's not a long game, maybe 5 hours or so, but it tells a full story, and depending on how you play, things can go in different directions. The characters grow on you too, even the ones that seem annoying at first. They all feel like real kids stuck in a really weird, messed up situation. Oxenfree is more about the journey than the action. It's calm, strange, and kind of emotional in spots. It keeps things simple but interesting the whole way through. If you like slow, spooky stories where you just want to explore, talk, and see what happens next, this is one of those games that sticks with you.
To stations that don't exist. Oh my god.
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Well, this one's quiet, simple, but super emotional. It's one of those games that doesn't use a ton of words, but still says a lot through its world, its characters, and how you actually play it. You control two brothers, both at the same time. Their father is sick, and the only way to save him is to go on this long journey to find a special cure. That's the whole setup. No big cutscenes, no long explanations. You just start walking, and the story slowly unfolds as you travel. The unique part? You control both brothers on the same controller. One analog stick moves the older brother and the other controls the younger one. It sounds weird at first, and yeah, it takes a minute to get used to, but once it clicks, it feels really natural. They each help in different ways. One's stronger, one's smaller, and you need both to solve little puzzles or get through obstacles. The game never tells you what to do, but the design is smart enough that you just kind of figure it out as you go. The world is beautiful in a quiet fairy tale kind of way. You walk through forests, snowy mountains, old ruins, and weird places filled with strange creatures. Every area feels different, and there's no dialogue to explain anything, just little gestures, sounds, and the environment itself telling the story. And somehow, it all makes sense without needing real words. The bond between the two brothers grows stronger as you go. You see them help each other, protect each other, and get through some really tough stuff. It's not just about puzzles or getting from point A to B, it's about what they're going through together. There's some heavy moments later in the game that hit hard, especially because you've been with these two the whole time, figuring things out side by side. The game's not super long, maybe 3 to 4 hours, but it doesn't waste time. Every section has something new to see or do, and the ending, no spoilers, but it's powerful. One of those moments that sticks in your head for a long time. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is a calm, thoughtful kind of game. It's easy to play, easy to follow, and it slowly pulls you in with its emotion and creative gameplay. No fancy menus, no side quests, just a strong, focused story told in a really unique way. the Banner Saga. This one's like playing through a serious, slow-burning Viking storybook. It's got that heavy emotional tone right from the start, and it never really lets go. The world feels like it's falling apart, and you're just trying to hold things together the best you can. You're following a group of people, some warriors, some just families, as they travel across a frozen world that's slowly dying. The sun has stopped moving in the sky, these huge armored enemies called the Dredge are pushing in from the north, and everything feels like it's getting worse every day. It's all about survival, choices, and sacrifice. The game is split between two parts. First, there's the story and travel part where you manage your caravan. You're moving across snowy mountains and valleys, and along the way you've got to make tough decisions like who to trust, when to stop and rest, how to handle fights within your group, stuff like that. Every choice matters. You might lose people, you might run out of supplies, things can go bad fast if you're not careful. Then there's the turn-based combat, where you control your heroes on a grid. You've got archers, big axe-wielding giants, shield bearers. Each one plays differently. Fights are all about strategy. It's not super fast or flashy, but it's smart. You've got to think about armor, strength, positioning, and losing a battle can really set you back. The visuals are super clean, everything's hand-drawn with this sharp 2D art style. It looks like an old-school animated movie. Not cartoony, just really bold and stylized. Every scene, every piece of the world has a lot of mood to it. The music's calm, but kind of sad too, which adds to the whole feeling that you're part of this long, hard journey where hope is starting to fade. There's not a ton of talking in the traditional voice-acted way. Most of the story is told through text and artwork, but it still feels personal, especially when you start to care about your characters and see how your decisions affect them. You can lose people permanently, and it's not always because you messed up in a fight. Sometimes it's just a tough choice with no good answer. The Banner Saga doesn't rush you. It lets you feel the weight of the world, and that's kind of what makes it special. You're leading a group of people through hard times, making choices that feel stressful but real. It's serious, it's focused, and it tells a strong story without needing to yell or go over the top.
Why are we alive when even the gods are dead? I awoke, and I knew why we're still alive.
The Witness. The Witness is a really calm and quiet kind of game, but it's also one of the most mind-bending ones out there. It drops you onto this beautiful, peaceful island with no intro, no characters talking, no instructions, just you, the world, and a bunch of puzzles waiting to be solved. They start off with a simple maze on a screen. You draw a line from point A to point B. Sounds easy, right? But then you realize every puzzle on this island slowly teaches you new rules just through how it's laid out. No one explains anything. You learn by looking, messing around, failing, then finally going, oh, that's how it works. And it never stops evolving. Some puzzles are about symmetry, some are about sound, some use shadows or reflections, or even the way trees are shaped nearby. The island itself becomes part of the puzzle, and that's what makes it feel different from other games. You're not just solving mazes, you're learning how to see things in a whole new way. The island is broken into different areas, like a desert, a forest, a mountain, a swamp, and each zone has its own puzzle style. You can go anywhere at any time, which is cool, but sometimes you'll run into puzzles that make no sense at first, and that's kind of the point. You're supposed to walk away, explore, come back later with fresh eyes. It's never trying to rush you. Visually, it's super clean. Bright colors, soft lighting, and everything's designed in a really smart way. Nothing looks wasted. It's not super realistic, but the world still feels alive in its own calm, quiet way. The sound design is really minimal too. Mostly wind, birds, and your footsteps. No music. It keeps your brain clear while you're thinking through stuff. There is a deeper meaning in the game if you go looking for it. There are secret videos and strange hidden stuff that adds some mystery and philosophy to it all. But honestly, it works even if you just want to solve puzzles and chill. The Witness is best when you take your time with it. There's no combat, no timer, no dialogue, just pure focus and exploration. Some puzzles will frustrate you, others will make you feel like a genius, but the whole journey feels rewarding, not because the game gives you anything, but because you earned it by figuring things out on your own. the Bastion. This one's got a real cool feel to it right from the start. You wake up as this silent kid, just called the Kid, and the world is literally falling apart around you. Like, pieces of the ground are floating in the air, and as you walk forward, the ground builds itself underneath your feet. It's simple to play, but has a lot of style. The main hook is that there's a narrator talking the whole time while you play, but it's not just random voice lines. He's reacting to what you do. If you smash something, he might mention it. If you fall off a ledge, he'll say something sly. It makes the whole thing feel alive, like someone's telling your story as you're living it. The gameplay is smooth and kind of arcade-like. You're running around with melee weapons, ranged weapons, and all kinds of abilities. You can mix and match weapons as you unlock them, like a big hammer, a fast sword, a bow, or even a flamethrower. It feels good to fight stuff, and there's a bit of challenge, but nothing too crazy. Every area you visit is colorful and full of little details. One moment you're in a forest, the next you're in a crumbling city or a weird dreamlike place. The music helps a ton too. It's got this calm, kind of sad, acoustic vibe. Really fits the tone of the game. Chill, but with emotion under the surface. There's also a quiet story going on in the background about what happened to the world, what this calamity is, and whether or not it can be fixed. You learn pieces of it through items and conversations with other survivors. It's not in your face, but it adds depth as you go. Bastion is short, you can finish it in a few sittings, but it keeps things tight and polished the whole way through. The way it blends narration, art, music, and gameplay just works. You're not just playing a game, you're playing through a story someone's telling right as it happens, and that gives it a really unique personal feel. Lake. This one's super chill. No combat, no pressure, no big drama. You play as Meredith Weiss, a woman who takes a break from her busy city job to come back to her small hometown and fill in for her dad as a mail carrier. Yeah, you're literally just driving around a quiet little lakeside town in the 80s, delivering mail and packages. That's the game. But it's more about the vibe than what you're doing. Each day, you hop in the mail truck, drive around this cozy place called Providence Oaks, and drop off letters. Along the way, you meet the people who live there. Old friends, new faces, some weird, some sweet, and you slowly get to know them just by talking. You make little choices in how you respond, who you spend time with, and whether you want to reconnect or just pass through.
Well, hello there, big cuddly guy.
The conversations are simple, natural, and kind of relaxing. No big stakes, no one yelling or rushing you, just people talking about life, their jobs, their problems. Meredith herself is easy to connect with. She's trying to figure out if the fast-paced career she left behind is what she really wants, or if this slower life actually feels more real. The town looks nice too. Nothing fancy, just quiet roads, trees, lakeside cabins, and calm music playing in the background. It gives off strong, slow afternoon energy, and that's kind of what makes Lake work. It's not trying to wow you, it's just letting you breathe. Gameplay wise, yeah, it's simple. Drive, deliver, chat, repeat, but it's kind of like a warm cup of coffee. You play a little bit each day, talk to folks, and slowly start feeling like you live there. And depending on your choices, you can build relationships, even start a little romance if you want. Firewatch. Firewatch is one of those games that just pulls you in with its vibe. It's not about action or puzzles. It's more about being in someone else's shoes for a while. You play as a guy named Henry, who takes a summer job as a fire lookout in the middle of a huge forest in Wyoming. He's out there alone in a wooden tower, miles away from anyone, just watching the trees and trying to get some peace. Henry's going through a lot. He's dealing with some personal stuff back home, stuff that's left him kind of broken, and this job is basically his way of escaping it. The only person he talks to is Delilah, another lookout who works in a tower way off in the distance. You never meet her face to face, but she's always talking to you through the radio. And that's really what the whole game is built on, the conversations between Henry and Delilah. Their back and forth is super real. You choose what Henry says, and depending on how you talk to her, you can keep things light and funny or get deep and serious. Some of the choices hit hard, especially when you start learning more about Henry's life and why he took the job. It's not a romance story, but there's real chemistry, and you start feeling like these are two people trying to figure themselves out just in the middle of nowhere.
Why are you freaking out?
I'm not freaking out.
Good.
The gameplay is simple. You walk through the woods, follow trails, use your map and compass, check out weird stuff like a broken fence, a missing backpack, or some strange signals coming from the trees. At first it all feels normal, peaceful even, but then the story slowly starts throwing in little bits of mystery and you're never quite sure what's real or if something darker is going on. Visually, the game looks amazing in a chill way. Big open skies, bright sunsets, firelight at night. It feels like you're out there, hiking alone with nothing but nature around you. The colors, nights are warm and soft, and the forest changes with the time of day. You can almost feel the wind and hear the trees moving around you. The soundtrack only pops in during key moments, and it always hits the right mood. There's no combat, no enemies, no leveling up. You're just walking, exploring, and talking, but somehow it's super engaging. The way the story unfolds and how it all comes back to Henry and Delilah keeps you hooked the whole way. It only takes about 4 or 5 hours to finish, but it sticks with you way after. Firewatch is quiet, emotional, and kind of beautiful in its own way. It's about being alone, figuring out what matters, and just listening to someone who's also kind of lost. If you want a calm, story-driven game that feels like a good short movie with strong characters, this one's a solid pick.
Nothing like this has ever happened before.
Maybe I'm just losing my mind.
I need you to feel safe out here.
Well, I sure don't now.
You will. I promise.
What Remains of Edith Finch. You play as Edith Finch, the last living member of the Finch family, and you're heading back to your old family home. It's this big, weird house out in the woods filled with locked rooms and old stuff left exactly how it was. The rest of your family? They're all gone. One by one, they all died, and no one really knows why. People say there's a curse on the Finch family, and now you're back to figure out what really happened. As you move through the house, you find journals, letters, and other personal things left behind. Each one tells the story of a different family member. But here's the cool part. You don't just read about them. You play through each story in a totally different way. One might feel like a cartoon, another like a dream. One of them has you working in a fish factory while your character daydreams about being a king. Some are fun, some are peaceful, and some are just plain sad, but each one sticks with you because it's not just about what happened, it's about how it felt. The way the game shows these stories is super creative. Words appear in the world as you walk, floating in the air or wrapping around objects. The camera moves in cool, unexpected ways. The whole thing feels like a short story collection. Each chapter is a different person, a different style, and a different mood. The house itself is full of detail. Every room tells you something about the person who lived there, and it feels like time just froze in those spaces. Nothing's explained directly, but you pick things up just by looking around. The music is soft and emotional, and the voice acting from Edith is calm, almost like she's reading from a journal. The game isn't long, maybe 2 hours, but it's packed with emotion. Some parts are sweet, some are heavy, some hit really hard out of nowhere, and by the end, it's not just about death or sadness, it's about memories, family, and how stories keep people alive in a way.
This is where your story begins.
Omno. Alright, let's talk about Omno. This one's a super peaceful and relaxing game. No combat, no pressure, no stress. You're just this little cloaked figure exploring a calm, beautiful world filled with ancient ruins, glowing animals, and soft, quiet music in the background. There's no real dialogue or story told through words. You're just kind of dropped into the world and left to figure things out by exploring. But somehow, it still tells a story, not through cutscenes or text, but through the way the world feels. Like you're on some kind of journey of discovery, chasing light, moving forward, and leaving something behind. The gameplay's really simple. You're mostly walking, jumping, gliding, and solving light puzzles to open up the next area. Each zone has its own look and vibe: snowy cliffs, glowing forests, open deserts, floating islands, and every place you visit has these little magical creatures roaming around. Some are tiny and cute, others are massive and mysterious, but none of them are dangerous. They're just there, living in the world with you. As you travel, you unlock new abilities. At first you can just walk and jump, but later you learn to dash forward, glide through the air, even surf across the ground on your staff, and that part feels really smooth and fun. It's not about skill or speed, it's more about enjoying the moment and just moving through a world that feels gentle and calm. The puzzles aren't hard either, they're more about slowing down and taking a second to look around. Sometimes you have to power up old machines, other times you just have to find and collect glowing orbs. Nothing gets frustrating, it's all meant to just flow nice and easy. If you're in the mood for something quiet and chill, something that lets you escape for a bit, Omno is a great little journey. Eastward. This one's got a mix of chill exploration, heartwarming story, and a little bit of old school action. It's got that cozy feel, but also hits you with some emotional stuff as you go. The world feels lived in, the characters are super likable, and there's a ton of charm packed into every corner. You play as John, this quiet guy with a frying pan. Yeah, that's your main weapon. And he's taking care of Sam, a mysterious little girl with some kind of strange power. They live underground at the start in this grungy, rundown town where the outside world is considered dangerous and off limits. But of course, stuff happens and they end up traveling out into the surface world together, and that's when the real adventure kicks in. The story slowly builds as you go from town to town, meeting all kinds of folks, getting involved in their lives, and slowly learning more about Sam and the bigger mystery going on in the world. It's got a mix of serious and lighthearted moments. One minute you're dealing with heavy stuff, and the next you're watching characters argue over food or play arcade games. It keeps things balanced. Gameplay is top-down, kind of like old Zelda games. You explore, fight enemies, solve simple puzzles, and switch between John and Sam to use their different skills. John's got his pan and tools like bombs and a flamethrower, while Sam can use her powers to freeze enemies or light up hidden paths. The dungeons are fun and never too hard, and the combat is quick and satisfying without getting too crazy. The visuals are a big standout. It's all done in this beautiful pixel art style, but super detailed and full of life. The lighting, the animation, the colors, everything looks like it was made with care. Whether you're in a quiet forest, a busy market street, or a spooky lab, each area has its own look and vibe. The music is also great, sometimes chill, sometimes emotional, sometimes upbeat. It fits each scene perfectly and helps set the mood without getting in the way. Eastward takes its time. It's not a fast game. You spend a lot of time talking to people, soaking in the world, and just being there. But that's kind of the point. It wants you to slow down, enjoy the ride, and care about the people you meet. It's a story about connection, about found family, and about holding on to hope even when things feel messed up. And yeah, it's got some weird sci-fi stuff too, but it's always grounded by the relationship between John and Sam, and that's what really makes the game work. Norco. Norco hits different right from the jump. It throws you into a version of Louisiana that feels both familiar and strange, like real small-town America mixed with dusty sci-fi. It's not a loud game, there's no action, no fancy effects, but the story pulls you in with its weird, heavy atmosphere and seriously sharp writing. You play as Kay, returning home after her mom's death. She'd been gone a while, and coming back to Norco doesn't feel good. The town's broken, not in a dramatic, cinematic way, just tired. Run-down neighborhoods, old friends stuck in the same spot, weird tech creeping in where it doesn't belong. It feels real and uncomfortable, and maybe even a little too close to reality sometimes. What you're doing here is mostly reading, exploring, and talking. It's a point-and-click style, but modern, clean UI, no frustrating item puzzles. You move from one location to another, check out people's homes, investigate gas stations, swamps, old factories, and as you look into your missing brother, you start peeling back this whole layered story about corporations, religion, memory, and the weird future hiding under the surface. But here's what makes it hit. The writing doesn't try too hard. It's raw, grounded, and kind of poetic without sounding like it's trying to be deep. Characters don't feel like game characters. They feel like people. And even when the story goes into strange territory, like cult robots or dream sequences, it never loses that grounded feeling. Visually, it's pixel art, but not retro, more like pixel painting. Detailed, moody, drenched in atmosphere. You'll see flickering lights over cracked highways, quiet streets lit with neon, giant oil rigs humming in the background. It's beautiful in that kind of sad, washed out way. The soundtrack matches that tone perfectly. Ambient and eerie, like something you'd hear driving alone at night with the windows down. There's no rush here, no hand-holding either. It lets you move at your own pace, soak in the places, sit with what people are saying. It's about mood and story, not solving things. You're just trying to make sense of a place, and maybe of yourself too. Norco is honest, it's weird, and it says a lot without ever yelling. It's the kind of game that quietly lingers in your head after it's over. Signalis. Signalis is one of those games that creeps up on you. At first, it looks like a throwback, top-down view, pixel art, survival horror vibes, but the more you play, the deeper and weirder it gets. It's slow, it's quiet, it's moody as hell, and it absolutely knows what it's doing. You play as Elster, a replica unit, basically a humanoid android who wakes up alone in a crashed ship looking for someone important to her. The game doesn't lay everything out up front. You're dropped into this cold, broken down facility, and it just lets you explore and figure things out on your own. The story comes in fragments, notes, radio signals, old terminals, and a lot of it is left for you to piece together. It's mysterious, but in a way that pulls you in instead of pushing you away. Gameplay-wise, it's classic survival horror. You've got limited ammo, a small inventory, creepy halls to walk through, puzzles to solve, and enemies that feel more like threats than targets. It's not about blasting your way through, it's about managing what little you have, knowing when to run, and slowly uncovering what happened in this place. It's tense, but never unfair. That classic feeling of always being just a little underprepared. The atmosphere, it's on another level. The art style is pixel-based, yeah, but the use of lighting, shadows, and grainy textures makes it feel way more modern than it looks at first. It's gritty, sterile, lonely. And the sound design, super important. Every door opening, every echoing footstep, every weird mechanical noise, it all builds this heavy, constant tension. The music is minimal, more like eerie tones and low synths, but it fits the mood perfectly. But the real hook is how emotional the game gets. Even with no big cutscenes or long dialogue scenes, you can feel the sadness under everything. Alistair isn't just wandering around fighting monsters, she's chasing a memory, maybe a promise, and maybe even something deeper that the game doesn't spell out for you. That feeling of loss and obsession runs underneath everything. And yeah, it gets weird, in a good way. Dreamlike cuts, looping, hallways, surreal flashes. The deeper you go, the more it feels like reality is slipping. But it's all intentional. If you're into games that don't hand you everything and expect you to feel your way through the story, this one delivers. Signalis doesn't try to be loud or flashy. It's subtle, cold, and quietly emotional. A love letter to old school horror, but with its own unique soul. Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Now this one feels like playing a Pixar movie, straight up. It's beautiful, it's smooth, and it's got heart. You play as Kena, a young spirit guide who helps lost souls move on. She's got a staff, some cool magic, and a bunch of tiny fuzzy creatures called the Rot that follow her around and help out. The story's emotional, but told in a calm, simple way. You're not saving the world or anything massive, it's more personal. Kena shows up in this mountain village where everything's kind of decayed and most of the people are long gone. The spirits left behind are stuck, haunted by pain or regret, and it's your job to help them let go. It's about healing, closure, and understanding what people went through. And that gives the game a softer, more thoughtful feel. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty straightforward but fun. You explore the world, solve light puzzles, do some platforming, and fight enemies. Combat feels kind of like a mix between light action games and Zelda. You've got quick attacks, a shield, a bow, and later on you unlock more powers. It's not super deep, but it feels smooth and satisfying, especially once you get the hang of dodging and timing your attack. And the Rot are the real MVPs. They help you in fights, move objects, unlock new areas, and they're just straight up adorable. The more you find, the more powerful they become, but you'll also unlock little hats for them. Just a fun little touch that adds charm. Now let's talk about the visuals, because man, this game is gorgeous. The lighting, the colors, the animation, it all looks like something you'd expect from a big animated film studio, not a small indie team. Forests feel alive, ruined temples have real atmosphere, and the cutscenes are legit top tier. Everything feels crafted with care. It's not a super long game, maybe 8 to 10 hours, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. Some folks might feel like the story could have gone deeper or that the platforming is a bit simple, but honestly, it nails what it sets out to do. It's heartfelt, polished, and full of charm from start to finish. Cuphead. Now Cuphead, this game don't play around. At first glance, it looks all cute and old school with those 1930s cartoon vibes, but once you hit start, you find out real quick. This game is hard. Like rage quit, try again 50 times hard. But that's kind of the magic of it. You play as Cuphead, or Mugman if you're doing co-op, and the basic story is simple. You made a deal with the devil, and now you gotta fight a bunch of wild boss characters to collect their soul contracts. It's short, straight to the point, and just enough story to get you moving, but honestly, it's not about the plot, it's about the style and the gameplay. Every fight in this game feels like a hand-drawn roller coaster. The bosses are ridiculous in the best way. Giant frogs that box like wrestlers, angry mermaids, haunted trains, candy queens, and every one of them has multiple phases. They keep switching it up, throwing different attacks, transforming mid-fight, and keeping you on your toes the whole time. The controls are tight and super responsive. You got a jump, a dash, a parry, and a bunch of different weapons and charms you can swap out. It's all about learning the patterns, reacting fast, and slowly getting better with each try. And yeah, you're gonna die a lot, that's part of the deal. But every time you get just a little farther, and it feels so good when you finally beat one of those insane bosses. The art style, seriously, it's one of a kind. The whole game looks like it was pulled straight out of a vintage cartoon. Every frame is hand-drawn, every background looks painted, and even the music matches. Big band, jazz, upbeat piano, wild drums, all of it feels like a lost animation reel from the 30s. It's packed with personality, and there's really nothing else like it. Beside the boss fights, there are a few platforming levels and shops where you can buy upgrades with coins you collect. It's light, just enough to break up the action a bit, and if you play co-op with a buddy, it gets even more chaotic, but also way more fun. Cuphead is one of those games where you either bounce off or get hooked hard. It's tough but fair, stylish but never shallow, and every win feels earned. It's a real love letter to old animation and tight arcade gameplay, and once it clicks, it's hard to put down. The inside. Now this game doesn't say a single word, but somehow it hits harder than most games that never shut up. It's dark, it's quiet, and it gets under your skin fast. You play as this nameless kid running through a weird, messed up world, and right from the start, it's clear something's very wrong. You're being hunted. Guys in masks, dogs, machines, everything's out to get you, and you don't even really know why. There's no intro, no dialogue, no text on screen, just pure gameplay and atmosphere. You move left to right, solving puzzles, avoiding death, and slowly making your way through places that feel cold, industrial, and kinda lifeless in the creepiest way possible. Gameplay's simple but sharp. You just run, jump, push stuff, pull levers, and try not to get caught, but the way the game uses that simplicity is where it really shines. One moment you're hiding from searchlights, the next you're solving physics puzzles, or controlling zombie-like figures to get through doors, and it all feels super smooth. Never clunky, never confusing. Visually, inside is minimalist but striking. Everything's shades of gray, black, and red. No bright colors, no flashy effects, just shadows, light, and eerie animation. The kid moves like a real person, stumbling, panting, barely hanging on, and every little detail adds to the tension. You can feel the fear in every step. And then there's the sound design. No music most of the time, just the sound of your footsteps, breathing, machines humming in the distance. When something loud happens, it really hits because everything else is so quiet. It's subtle, but it makes a huge difference in how the game feels. Now, without spoiling anything, let's just say the game goes places. The further you go, the weirder it gets. There's a shift near the end, a huge, unexpected moment that's totally messed up, but also brilliant in how it plays out. And just like the rest of the game, it doesn't explain itself. It lets you think about it, process it, and come up with your own meaning. Night in the Woods. You play as May, a 20-year-old college dropout who moves back to her tiny hometown called Possum Springs. It's the kind of place where nothing ever really changes. Old buildings, dead-end jobs, rusty storefronts. Everyone you knew as a kid is still there, just older, more tired, kinda stuck, and that's basically what the game's about, feeling lost, unsure, and just trying to exist. You spend your days exploring town, hanging out with your old friends, and slowly realizing that the place and the people aren't quite the same anymore. Some folks are hurting, some are drifting, and some are just trying to get by. May's struggling with mental health stuff, family tension, and this lingering feeling that something's wrong, not just in her, but in the world around her. Gameplay is super simple. You walk around, talk to people, pick dialogue options, and play a few light mini games here and there, but the writing is what makes it so strong. Every conversation feels real, like small talk, awkward silences, random jokes, deeper stuff that catches you off guard. It's funny, but also really honest. The way May talks, the way her friends react, it all feels natural, like people you might actually know. There's also this weird, creepy undertone. At first, it's just a slice of life story, like you're just vibing through a lazy fall in a dying town. But then stuff starts to get weird. May has these strange dreams, people start talking about something hiding in the woods, and eventually the game leans into a bit of mystery and even a touch of horror, but not in a loud way. It's subtle, it sneaks up on you. Visually, the art style is simple and colorful, but super expressive. The town feels alive with little animations, soft music, and that cozy autumn look everywhere. The leaves, the lighting, the way the wind moves, it's all just vibey, like a warm blanket wrapped around some heavy thoughts. Katana ZERO. You play as a katana-wielding assassin in a bathrobe, slicing your way through gritty, neon-lit levels like a total badass. But underneath all the action, there's this trippy, broken story that slowly messes with your head in the best way. Gameplay is quick and sharp, literally. Every level plays like a puzzle where you have to clear out all the enemies in one go without dying. You've got your sword, you can dodge roll, reflect bullets, slow down time, and plan out every move like a deadly ninja chess game. One hit and you're dead, but that's the point. It resets instantly and you try again until it's perfect. Fast, clean, stylish. Each level is built for speed doors, slash through guards, throw bottles, dodge lasers, and it all happens in this slick 2D side view. And when you finally clear a room, the game rewinds everything and plays it back like it was all part of one smooth, perfect plan. It makes you feel like an action movie hero, even if it took you 10 tries to get it right. But it's not just about killing bad guys. The story hits hard. You're not just some cool hitman, you're also dealing with therapy sessions, weird dreams, memory gaps, and questions about who you even are. The game messes with your sense of time, reality, and trust. Some scenes break the fourth wall, glitch out, or shift in tone without warning. It's wild, but it all connects. The writing is tight and snappy, and the dialogue system is cool. You can interrupt people mid-sentence or choose to stay silent. Depending on how you respond, characters treat you differently, and it affects how the story flows. And yeah, there are twists. Big ones. Stuff that totally flips how you see your character and what's really going on. A turn of the Obra Dinn. This one's unlike anything else out there. It doesn't look like a modern game, it doesn't play like one either, but if you're into mystery, problem solving, and piecing together stories with your brain instead of your fists, this is one of the best experiences you'll find. You're an insurance investigator in the early 1800s, sent to board a ghost ship called the Obra Dinn. It vanished years ago and suddenly showed back up completely empty. Your job? Figure out what happened to everyone on board. All 60 people. Who they were, how they died, and who or what killed them. You don't do it by watching cutscenes or reading notes. You have this weird magical pocket watch that lets you see the exact moment someone died. You walk up to a corpse, open the watch, and boom! The world freezes and you get to walk around the scene like it's a frozen memory. You hear the sounds right before death. A scream, a gunshot, footsteps, and then the moment is locked in place for you to explore. It's all in black and white with this old school 1-bit visual style that makes everything look like a sketch or an old book illustration. At first it feels limiting, but after a while it actually makes the game more immersive. You start focusing harder on small details like clothing, accents, items, because that's how you solve the puzzle. And yeah, it is a puzzle game, a giant one. You're basically solving 60 little mysteries that all connect. You'll be matching faces, voices, ship rolls, locations, everything matters. Did this guy speak Russian? Was he standing near the cannon when it fired? Is that the same person seen cleaning boots earlier? It's like being a detective but with no hand-holding. The game gives you the tools and it's up to you to really pay attention. Yet doesn't tell you if you're right until you've solved 3 identities correctly. That slow reveal keeps the tension high and makes every little breakthrough super satisfying. You'll stare at the crew list, flip through your notebook, and rewatch death scenes over and over just to notice something new. It's a game that makes you feel smart, not because it's throwing out trivia or trick questions, but because it trusts you to connect the dots. There's no combat, no platforming, no bosses, just a brilliant story told out of order with your brain as the only weapon. And once you've put it all together, it paints this huge, tragic picture of a ship cursed with greed, betrayal, monsters, and all sorts of wild stuff you won't see coming. Return of the Obra Dinn is slow, quiet, and completely different, but once it clicks, it's one of the most rewarding games out there.
Here, let me help you.
What madness is this? Keep rowing!
Dead Cells, a game that's all about fast action, slick movement, and getting a little better and a little angrier every time you die. It's what they call a roguelite, but don't worry about the fancy terms, just know that it's a game where you die a lot, but each run makes you stronger, sharper, and more dangerous. You play as this weird blob of green goo that takes over a dead body in a prison, no name, no voice, just vibes. From there, you start fighting your way out of this messed up, ever-changing castle full of monsters, traps, and secret paths. The story is light, mostly told through quick text or little environmental hints, but it has this cool, sarcastic tone. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, but it is serious about gameplay. Combat, super clean, tight controls, smooth animations, and tons of build options. You can slash enemies with fast swords, burn them with fire, freeze them with traps, roll behind them, shoot bows, throw bombs. Whatever your style, there's probably a weapon combo that feels just right. And the game wants you to play fast. If you keep up momentum, dodging and killing without getting hit, you're rewarded with speed bonuses and upgrades. The levels are all procedurally generated, meaning they change every time, but they're handcrafted enough to feel solid. You start in a basic prison, but later areas get more intense. Sewers, towers, corrupted temples, and wild boss fights. And yeah, the bosses are tough, they're big, fast, and unforgiving, but learning their patterns is part of the fun. When you die, and you will, a lot, you go back to the start. But you don't lose everything. You collect cells during your run, and those can be used to unlock permanent upgrades like new weapons, healing flasks, or gold retention. So every death still pushes you forward a little bit. The art style is all pixel based, but super detailed. Animations are fluid, backgrounds are rich with color, and the lighting adds this nice glow to everything. It's one of those games that looks retro and modern at the same time. Then the music, it ramps up with the action, chill during quiet parts, intense during boss fights, and keeps the energy going strong. Journey. Now this one's on a whole different level. No menus, no dialogue, no tutorials, you just start walking. And somehow, that's enough to make one of the most emotional and unforgettable games ever made. You play as this robed figure in a massive desert, standing in front of a mountain glowing in the distance. That's your goal. Get to the mountain, that's it. But along the way, you'll slide through sand dunes, glide through ancient ruins, float across windswept cliffs, and dive into glowing caverns. It's all super simple, just move, jump, and use this little shout or ping sound to interact with stuff or call out to other players. Yeah, other players. The twist is that as you journey along, you might randomly run into someone else playing the game. No name tags, no voice chat, no way to type. Just you and the silent stranger helping each other out. You can stick together the whole time or go your separate ways. But if you make it all the way to the end with them, it hits hard. You bond without ever saying a word. The controls are smooth, the movement feels weightless, and the world is full of little secrets and soft, puzzle-like moments. There's no combat, no fail state, it's just about moving forward, exploring, and soaking in the world around you. Man, the art, it's beautiful. The sand shines, the wind blows in just the right way, and every area has this perfect color tone. Sometimes you're sliding through golden sunlight, sometimes you're barely crawling through snow and wind. The visuals are clean and minimal, but every scene looks like a painting. The journey is short, maybe 2 hours max, but it leaves a mark. It's not about scoring points or completing quests, it's about feeling something. Wonder, loneliness, connection, peace. It's one of those rare games that's not just fun, but meaningful. The Last Campfire. This one's small, quiet, and kind of beautiful in a way that sneaks up on you. It's not loud or flashy, but it's got this really cozy, emotional feel that sticks with you if you let it. You play as this little character called an Ember, a small, cloaked figure who's lost, trying to find their way through a strange, fading world. You wake up alone, and the only real goal is to help others like you, lost souls who've kind of given up, called forlorn. They're stuck, frozen in place, filled with sadness or fear or confusion. Your job is to help them find their spark spark again. And that's what the game is really about, helping people heal. The gameplay is simple but satisfying. You walk around these little handcrafted environments, forests, caves, ruins, solving gentle puzzles and talking to creatures along the way. Each forlorn you help is tied to a puzzle. Some involve pushing blocks, flipping switches, or figuring out a path through hazards. None of it is super hard, but the puzzles feel thoughtful. They make you slow down and think without ever getting frustrating. And it's not just about solving stuff. The world feels warm, even though it's a little sad. You'll meet all kinds of quirky creatures, frogs, birds, talking stones, some funny, some wise, some kind of grumpy. But all of them add to this quiet little journey of figuring things out. There's also this peaceful narrator who reads the whole story aloud in this soft British voice. It feels like being told a bedtime story, calm and a little melancholic, but comforting. Visually, the game looks soft and colorful. Everything has this rounded, almost clay-like style. The lighting is really well done too. Glowing campfires, soft fog, flickering shadows. It's not realistic, but it has its own unique, peaceful vibe. And the music is gentle and emotional, always matching what's going on without trying to take over the scene. Until Then. Until Then is a story-driven game that sneaks up on you. At first, it feels like a peaceful slice of life. You're walking around, talking to friends, going to class, just living out your days as Mark, a pretty average high school student in the Philippines. No superpowers, no chosen one nonsense, just homework, text messages, late buses, and awkward hallway conversations. It's all super grounded and honestly kind of nostalgic if you've ever had a quiet school life with big feelings. But here's where it gets interesting. Just when you're getting used to the chill vibe, something starts to feel off. Like people start disappearing. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but quietly, subtly. One day, a friend's just gone. Wiped from photos, group chats, memories, and nobody else notices. The game doesn't shove it in your face. It lets you sit in that weird feeling, wondering, was that person ever real? And that's where the game starts pulling you into this slow, emotional mystery. Gameplay-wise, it keeps things simple. You're walking around 2D environments, interacting with objects, talking to characters, replying to messages, and doing small, everyday tasks. You might be playing the piano in music class, or sitting with a friend during a quiet sunset. There's no combat, no boss fights. It's more about experiencing things, conversations, silence, little choices, and slowly noticing what's changing around you. The setting is super authentic too. You're walking through schools, cafes, city streets, all designed to look like real places in the Philippines. And it does make a big deal out of it. It's not like, look at this exotic place. It just is. Local culture, language, food, and slang are all blended in naturally. It's rare to see that kind of representation done this well, where it feels casual and lived in. As the story builds, that low-key tension grows. You're not just watching a kid go through school life anymore, you start to wonder what's really going on, and it never turns into some over-the-top twist fest. It keeps things subtle, emotional. You're left thinking about memory, loss, and how we hold on to people or forget them. By the time it ends, Until Then isn't just a game, it feels more like a memory you lived through, the kind of story that doesn't yell at you but whispers something real.